So anyone who is a parent of a teenager, maybe you know a teenager, you know that we are in the thick of prom season, and then right after that we're going to launch right into graduation season, and that means your children could be going to after parties. Maybe they're drinking alcohol. Let's not be naive about it, right, Mom and Dad? 1 in 4 car crashes with teenagers involves an underage drunk driver. So this morning we are joined by Anthony Ramirez. He's with MAD, Mothers Against Drug Driving, the Arizona chapter. We're here to talk about some of the consequences of underage drinking and driving during prom season. Anthony, thanks for joining us. I feel like you've seen this from so many different sides. You're a former law enforcement, a prosecutor, an attorney now, but you're also a dad of 5. So good morning to you.
Good morning,
I feel like,
thank you.
Yeah, it's such an important subject to broach this time of the year. Let's talk about the conversation, because
Sure.
I feel like that is probably one of the toughest things, one of the toughest humps to get over for parents,
Sure.
broaching the subject altogether with your teenagers.
Sure. So as parents, we have to have difficult conversations with our teens. Sometimes parents just don't want to do it because it's a hard conversation to have. But if you consider the consequences, it's really a conversation that you're going to want to have with them. You want to make it safe for them to understand that although they shouldn't be drinking, we have to be realistic that, you know, a large percentage of teenagers do drink, and they are responsible for a very high percentage of accidents. So if you create a safe space and make them understand that, you know, if they do it, that you're going to go pick them up, that you'll be there no matter what, and make it okay for them, that is a really important thing to do.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because having that conversation free of judgment, that's probably one of the toughest things as a parent, because you also want to, you know, when it comes to teenagers, grab them by the shirt and say, don't make a dumb decision, kiddo.
Right. Well, you know, but the thing with teenagers is they consider indifference as a green light, right? Indifference and not having that conversation is really perceived by them as saying, well, maybe since they're not saying anything, it's okay.
You know, talk about tough talk. I imagine also, too, it's important to help them truly understand the consequences, potential consequences,
Sure.
like killing somebody else or completely altering their lives. Talk to me about those consequences that you've really seen in your capacity from a professional standpoint.
So a lot of people always think, okay, drinking and driving, I'm going to get a DUI. There's a, you know, that's really, if you get a DUI, that's probably the least of your worries, because, you know, as you mentioned, you could be charged with manslaughter, negligent homicide. There are consequences that a teenager could incur as a youth that are going to follow them throughout their entire life. Not only that, but there are aspects of it from their health, you know, diminished IQ, long-lasting health consequences, things like that can really follow them if they allow alcohol to take over their lives.
You know, Anthony, in your professional capacity, you've seen the horrible consequences of drunk driving, especially from teenagers. Can you talk about the heartbreak on both sides for both the victims as well as the teenage driver?
You know, I can. And so one of the things, I had a client, and I'll leave her unnamed, but, you know, a young lady that was, you know, a dancer, had a lot of, and has a lot of dreams, and she's actually doing very well since the accident. But I watched that happen, and, you know, as a personal friend of the family, and, you know, saw that impact that it had on her life and what it did to her. And from the other side, you know, I've seen people that were charged with crimes, because as a victim's advocate, we look at the criminal side of these cases and follow that as well. And, you know, you see the damage that it's done. You know, somebody that was charged with a DUI, where maybe they're now going to be charged with a felony because of an aggravated assault or a manslaughter charge that's going to follow them.
Yeah.
And so it really changes lives on both sides of the fence.
Yeah, there's a second young person, that driver, whose life is altered forever as well.
Correct.
Anthony, thank you so much. I feel like it's such as a mom of two
Sure.
teenagers, it's such an important subject to broach. So
Sure.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.